So this video is going to be about what I think is Darth's biggest philosophical blunder, where he basically destroys his entire worldview. He has said on several occasions that the uniformity of nature is the same as the laws of physics. Now, he did that very recently, a few weeks back. I think it was last month when he debated Dr. J. Garfield. I'm going to show that clip right now. Here's that clip.
Okay, so how do you know that the uniformity of nature is real?
I don't.
Okay, but you're asserting it as though it is.
I said nothing whatsoever about the uniformity.
You said the laws of physics. The laws of physics would be the same thing as saying the uniformity of nature.
I did not say that. You said that.
Yeah.
Okay, he has said that on many other occasions as well. Here's a couple more clips basically saying the same thing.
How is that a thing?
Do you believe that the uniformity of nature is a reality?
Do you know what the uniformity of nature actually is? Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, the uniformity of nature could be roughly characterized as the concept of the laws of physics and chemistry.
I don't see.
Well, yeah, understanding the world. Yes, yes, regularity
right,
and continuity is important.
Okay, continuity and regularity. Okay, without regularity, the uniformity of nature.
Well, at least the laws of nature.
Well, the uniformity of nature, the laws of nature are synonyms for each other.
Correct.
Okay, now.
Okay, now this next clip is very important because he's actually going to talk about a worldview and the foundational points of a worldview. Okay, here's that clip.
The basis of our worldview, and then things that come from that assumption.
Everybody has a web of beliefs, and one of their most foundational beliefs, the most foundational belief, is whatever somebody considers to be ultimate, that is the origin point and basis for all dependencies. Now, everybody has a worldview. That worldview is a network of beliefs. It's a spider's web of beliefs. They're interconnected. Some of those beliefs are more foundational than others. Some of those beliefs you can change quickly. Other beliefs, it takes a great deal of difficulty to change it. And some of those beliefs are rock solid, and you would have to abandon your worldview to change your most foundational belief.
Okay? That makes sense. I agree completely with what you said so far. I'm totally on board.
Okay, now in this next clip, he was actually asked what are some of the foundational beliefs in his worldview. And this is where he answered, and he included the laws of nature. Here that is.
Best way, science is not a foundational belief. The reality of the external physical world would be a foundational belief. That there is causality is a foundational belief. That there are laws of nature is a foundational belief. There are others as well. See, you're not...
Okay, now what you're going to hear next, he's going to talk about these foundational points, and he's going to say that some of them are actually innate or God ordained. In other words, we are born with this.
And that includes my mind being made in his image. And he is given he is through his revelation, his revelatory acts, he has made us to think in certain foundational ways about the world around us that we cannot think otherwise. From a Christian point of view, God's creative act of making us in his image is a justification for that knowledge state. Now, since you...
Okay, now, not only does he say that we think that way, he says even atheists think the same as God, at a foundational level.
Listen, I'm not trying to be mean. Right?
So I don't get to think God's thoughts when I deny him, right?
No, we do think like God. Even the most rank atheist thinks like God at a foundational level. They can't avoid it. They're programmed that way. But at a higher level, their thoughts are.
Okay, so what you've heard up to this point is that Darth has said that even atheists are born with this certain foundational knowledge, which includes the uniformity of nature, which according to Darth is the same as the laws of physics. And atheists are born with this. We cannot think otherwise, according to Darth. There's no way we can even try to think otherwise because we are programmed with this particular knowledge. Okay, now, here I'm going to show where Darth actually makes the blunder. I'm going to show this clip for you, and this is the first of several clips.
Are you assuming that the medium through which you perceive light and measure light is the same medium in space, deep space?
Yeah. I'm assuming that whatever
how is that justified?
It's not. It's an assumption.
Okay, good. So you have a world of make-believe.
Sure.
Here, you're not understanding. If you start with an assumption and then you build on an assumption, okay? If you start with assumption X and you say, therefore Z, okay? The assertion of Z depends upon the assumption is arbitrary. Therefore, the assertion of this as well.
Okay, that clip was a little bit choppy, so that's the reason why if you look on the left, you could see that I actually included the text, so you could actually read it to see what he was saying. Okay, now Darth is even going to take it a step further. Now he's going to say that assumptions are arbitrary. Okay.
Assumptions. Okay, yeah. What that is that's an appeal to arbitrariness.
Okay, so what Randolph just said was completely and entirely arbitrary because he has conceded here several times tonight. He has no idea whatsoever what prescribes. And are the facts that you speak here arbitrary, or do they have an ultimate and final grounding?
They're just as arbitrary as yours.
Okay, are you conceding here tonight that your worldview and all of the dependent statements that are derived from it are entirely arbitrary?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you just admitted that your atheism is irrational.
Just like yours, Duncan.
Okay, then, but now you're not getting the implications. When you concede that your statements are arbitrary, then they're vacuous. Because then I can just sit there and say to you, you're wrong because the moon is made out of green cheese.
Will you assume that your basic cognitive apparatus operates in a basic, reliable way? Then you're telling me that your ultimate authority is your assumptions.
Sure, if you want to say that.
Okay, good. Therefore, your ultimate authority are your arbitrary ideas.
Well, okay. Therefore, you cannot claim that your atheism is rational.
Well, given the assumption that it is true, I can actually.
Okay, but you see, you're being arbitrary and inconsistent because you want something other than assumptions in order to believe something, isn't it? When it comes to justification, you're either going to have that justification end in a terminus or a terminal point, or it's going to be an infinite regress of justification, or it's going to have to be on the basis of an arbitrary Okay, so what you're saying then is that our most foundational mental states are simply arbitrary? Ultimately grounds it, you say, I don't know. So all of your statements of possibility and impossibility are arbitrary.
What's wrong with I don't know?
Bribe reality.
No, I asked you, are they definitional and conventional?
Yes.
They are
Yes means
okay.
yes.
So basically, now, when you tell me that all entities conform to the law of identity and non-contradiction, are you just simply doing so definitionally and arbitrarily?
Yes, the law of logic describes everything.
So it's arbitrary then?
No.
Okay, so
now what I'm going to do, and if you've listened to Darth, this might sound familiar. I'm going to use his language, his vocabulary. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the rope that he hands me, and I'm going to hang him with it. Or, if you prefer, I'm going to go for his jugular, or the headshot. Okay, so this is the kill shot.
I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. I think that's a Christian term, the uniformity of nature, that you guys use. I don't think that's something they use in the science.
Actually, the uniformity of nature is the fundamental bedrock assumption of all science and empirical endeavors.
Oh, okay. Well, beautiful. Then, okay, that's fine. It accepts uniformity of nature. That's fine.
Now,
excuse me. The uniformity of nature is the bedrock assumption of all empiricism. Every scientist who enters into a laboratory and conducts experiments, every single one must assume the uniformity of nature. Otherwise, if they don't, doing observation, testing, and repeating is meaningless.
Okay, so did you hear that? Okay, your don't worry, your ears were not playing tricks with you, I guarantee it. You heard him say that the uniformity of nature is an assumption. Okay, now guess what else he has said about assumptions? Do you remember in the beginning when you saw the clip where it said that Darth believes that we are born with certain foundational knowledge? Okay, listen to this. This clip is about a 5-minute clip, but listen very carefully when the group asked Darth a question about the uniformity of nature. Here's that clip.
Hey, Dax, I had a conversation with Sidney once where Sidney claimed, and he was certain about this, that physics is the same everywhere. That's what he said.
Could be. So hold on a second. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Okay, so
well, you're not in a position to support that contention.
Well, are you not in a position to contradict it?
I'll repeat what I said. You're not in a position to support that broad sweeping claim.
Yes, I am actually.
Really? So your infinitesimally small observation of physicality is equal to or represents the whole of physicality.
Okay. 100 years ago, Albert Einstein predicted something, and they found it last year in September. Okay, it worked. As a prediction,
Isaac Newton, theories of gravitation were upheld and considered the best explanation.
I said to you, it was a measurement. It was a measurement that was found that that proved a prediction of 100 years ago in physics. Which is something that came in a wave form generated 1.3 billion years ago. So my contention that physics is the same everywhere is not subject to ridicule.
Oh, it most certainly is, because what you're doing is you are making a universal claim by an inductive survey, and it's not logically necessitated.
Well, now you're embarrassing yourself very much.
Why do you keep bringing that up? I don't understand that. So,
why do I keep bringing that up?
Yeah.
It's because induction cannot make a logically necessary claim.
Does it claim to make it logically necessary?
Listen. It might be the claim that all swans are white.
Right.
But induction can never demonstrate that all swans are white or all ravens are black.
Right, but if we do have a strong inductive case that all swans are white, it
doesn't matter. One cannot assert with certainty a claim made by induction.
Does induction claim certitude?
In the manner in which Ask an Atheist is using induction, when he says that all physics is the same that we observe, he is claiming certitude.
Well, he can claim strong confidence in that.
Right.
No, he has.
You're extrapolating certitude from it. That's what you're doing.
No, I'm not extrapolating. He was expressing certitude in his words. There's no extrapolation. It was crystal clear in what he said.
We can ask him, Sidney. Do you think that is your claim of certainty or is it of high degree of confidence?
My claim of the physics is the same everywhere in the universe?
Yeah.
Certainty.
There you go. So now we have a clear answer.
Then yes.
What do you mean? There you go. You see,
then Darwin is correct. Yeah, Darwin's correct.
I didn't know that's what he said. That's why I asked him. I'm not going to assume.
I told you what he said.
I'm not going to go by what you say. I'm going to ask the man himself.
Okay.
He's here.
Okay, good. And he just confirmed that I was correct. This is how poorly Ask an Atheist Sidney reasons.
Now, why do you say that? Well, let's hear your argument against it.
Because you believe induction can give you answers of certainty.
I said that physics is the same everywhere in the universe. Why is that not correct?
I didn't say that was not correct. I said you can't substantiate that.
So it is correct.
No.
And if it is correct, why should I substantiate it?
Yeah, if you're not saying
okay, you see what I'm dealing with here, Dex? I'm dealing here with adults who have the mind of teenagers.
Well, do you think that's a correct or incorrect statement? That physics are the same everywhere.
It is an unsubstantiated claim that Sidney has made that physics is the same everywhere.
What do you think?
Well, what I think is that the Christian God exists and he has revealed himself and he has revealed that he has made it. Okay, well, I don't know that physics is the same everywhere in the universe, but what I do presume, since I presume the Christian God exists, is that he has created an orderly universe. Actually, the Bible doesn't use the word.
Okay, so remember, Darth has gone on record many times saying that physics is the same as the uniformity of nature. But wait a minute. He said that is part of the foundational knowledge even atheists are born with, and this is something that we know innately. Yet, when he was asked about the uniformity of nature just now, or physics, the same thing, he said he didn't know about it.
And when I ask you what ultimately grounds it, you say, I don't know. So all of your statements of possibility and impossibility are arbitrary.
What's wrong with I don't know?
Then your assertions are arbitrary. You are stating things without foundational evidence, and according to you, that which can be stated without evidence will be dismissed without evidence. So you are violating your own criterion of belief.
To affirm on one hand that everything that he says is based upon assumptions, but then he wants to keep shooting his mouth off and make knowledge claims as though they were not glorified assumptions. Once he concedes that everything ultimately stems in his worldview from assumptions, then everything he says to me are assumptions. They're not actually knowledge.
But all right, so there you heard him say that assumptions are not knowledge. Okay, wait a minute. Now, he said earlier that we are born with certain foundational knowledge, and he said that did include the uniformity of nature. But then he says, on the other hand, the uniformity of nature is an assumption, which he says is not knowledge. Darth, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Please keep talking.